One of the things that I get engaged with a lot is this concept that I call this is my term. I call it workflow enforcement. And what is workflow enforcement? So I work with a lot of global companies. So that means even though the primary focus of my engagements are here in the United States, that doesn't mean that the companies I work for are exclusively located within the United States. Some of them have geographical offices in, say, Asia or Europe. Some of them even in Africa, South America. They're all over the place. The point being is that if you have a diverse group of users, maybe there's a language barrier, maybe there's an education barrier. What we can do inside of Inventor is we can create workflows that you cannot deviate from. We're enforcing a particular workflow. And what do I mean by that? What is workflow enforcement? Let me go back over here to Inventor. And is it, oh, actually, I don't even know if I have an example to show there. Well, basically what it is you create tools that only do specific tasks within Inventor, and you cannot deviate from it. So as an example, I did some work for a company, and what they wanted to do was every time they placed a flange on a wall on one of their products, they wanted the bolt pattern of that flange to automatically get projected. And then we use that projection to cut away the material. So that way the holes in the flange automatically, consistently, dependably line up with the bolt pattern on the actual wall. So no matter where they move it, the bolt pattern moves with it. If they just constrain it in a particular location, if they change out the flange and perhaps there's more bolt holes or those bolt holes change in size, automatically updates to ensure that the bolt holes in the flange and the bolt holes in the wall always line up. And that's all this tool does. It does the same thing every single time without question, without doubt, without anything else. It just works every time. That's workflow enforcement. It's a tool. It does one thing or a series of things linearly, and it doesn't do anything else but that. Why would you want to do something like what? The company in which I worked for or worked with in order to do that, they had a language barrier. They had users in a foreign country. They were very challenging to work with, very challenging to educate. So as opposed to having somebody responsible to ensure that they're doing the work the right way every single time, we just built a series of tools, and then we instruct them how to use those particular tools. Use this tool first, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, and then just repeat over and over and over again. So quite honestly, it also allowed that company to have a much more diverse pool of individuals in order for their workforce. So they didn't really need, qualified engineers or even educated designers. They essentially just needed people that could push buttons, and then they could still design as if they were engineers, because we included all of that information, all of that, all those requirements within the tools. All the work was being done by the automation, not by the designer. So that's an example of workflow enforcement. Maybe you have a situation where that could benefit you.